You can manage with 6 or even 5 or 4 cylinders, but at some point, when you try to accelerate, there will be a noticeable failure to perform. Clean out your engine, and you're running on all 8 cylinders again. It's like having a new car. The same is true with our bodies. We can manage to get by with shallow breathing. We can manage without exercise. We can get by without meditating. But omitting the deep breathing, omitting the physical exercise, omitting meditation, is like running your body on 4 cylinders instead of 8. Yes, you can get by, but wouldn't you rather live in radiant, vital, dynamic health, mentally centered, ready for whatever challenges you with enough energy and despair for you and all your needs in your world? This past summer, we talked a lot about creating your own personal universe and how you are in control of your universe. The idea that our happiness and joy is dependent upon outside factors is a myth. We know our happiness and joy comes from within. Each one of us is on the path of life. Some are more dedicated to the path than others. Some of us have taken side trips for various reasons. My purpose today is simply to remind you once again that you are the creator of your own personal universe. You have the option to decide for yourself whether you operate on 8 cylinders, 6, 4, or even 2 cylinders. My professor always said, why operate on 2 or 4 cylinders when you have the option to cruise along at full speed on 8? I maintain that you make that choice every day when you choose to meditate, choose to exercise, choose to do the deep breathing exercises we have learned, and choose to make the effort to see the God within others, even in those with whom you disagree. You make those choices every day of your life, and as you make those choices, you create your own personal universe. One of the points Al Gore made in his documentary, An Inconvenient Truth, is that now, more than ever, we, as inhabitants of the planet Earth, need to take into consideration our environmental or carbon footprint, i.e., when we leave our campsite, are we leaving it cleaner than it was when we arrived? Or are we leaving a lot of junk behind for the next person to have to clean up? Certainly, I was always taught to leave my campsite in better condition than when I arrived. But in this new age, we have to be more conscious of how we leave the planet once our lives are exhausted. We put our trash into bags, which go into bins, and all the trash is taken away, and we never see it again. Do you remember when there was a trash strike in Manhattan some years ago? And there was so much trash in the streets that people everywhere were overwhelmed by the noxious odors, junk everywhere, streets filled, lack of parking, and so on. If you stop and think about it, we all create lots of trash. Maybe your family has given thought as how to lessen the impact of that trash on the environment. Some people are processing their garbage at home, turning it into fertilizer. I recall learning that if you dry out eggshells, pulverize them in a blender, and adding them to potting soil, the eggshell provides nutrients to the soil, and it's a simple way to recycle and eliminate a portion of garbage. I've seen people compost their garbage into a bin with a complex array of layers of worms, and the worms turn the garbage into fertilizer, which can be used in the garden. My point this morning is that you can do things on your own to minimize your environmental footprint and reduce your impact on the world's environment. When you buy a new car, try to get the best mileage you can. Walk or ride your bike when you can, rather than driving, or take the bus or subway when you can. At this point, it's up to each one of us to take a look at our own circumstances, our habits, our methods of doing things, and figure out if there's a more environmentally friendly or safer way to live our lives. Is it better to use paper towels or cloth towels that we can wash and reuse? That may depend on the job you're doing, your environment, and what facilities you have available at your disposal. Everything I've talked about this morning is based on the idea that you are the center of your universe, and that you are master of your own personal universe. And you can do all of what I've talked about with very little effort on your part. Meditation is something we must take the time to do. We don't have to pay a fee, wear special clothing, or learn a particular language. We simply have to take the time to meditate and do it. Realize that you are an inseparable part of God, and take the time to make the effort to see that of God in others, even when you may have doubts that it's really possible. Breathe deeply. Learn the breathing exercises as delineated in Course 4, or take a course in yoga. Spending time with a good yoga instructor will help center you, help you get the exercise you need and stay healthy and fit, and improve your mind as well. And if yoga isn't your idea of good exercise, join a gym, take long walks, or do whatever exercise makes you feel invigorated and rejuvenated. Take a look at your carbon footprint and see what steps you can take to minimize the impact that you make on the environment. Start out with simple, small steps, and then dare yourself to take larger steps and make bigger strides in reducing your impact on the environment. Maybe it's a matter of remembering to bring recyclable bags to the grocery store. I've received a number of those bags recently, but I haven't been remembering to bring them to the grocery store when I shop. If we all remembered to bring those bags with us, we could reduce the number of plastic bags filling up our landfills. Again, each of these steps can be done easily enough, provided you give them thought and time and remember to do them. Procrastination is easy. I can think of lots of reasons not to meditate, but doing the meditation is far more healthy and fulfilling. None of what I've suggested above will cost you a lot of money, except maybe getting yourself a hybrid car. And you can do a lot in your own universe to improve your situation just by taking a moment to think about what you're doing and the impact you're having on the environment, which is our home that we all share together. You really do have a choice in the matter. I'm not saying that you have to make drastic changes all at once in your life. Just take small steps. It's up to you to take a look and see how you can improve your own personal universe. As we heard in this morning's scripture, Paul says that what you sow, you reap. We're all familiar with the verses from Ecclesiastes, which include the idea about there being a time for everything and every purpose under heaven. Now is the time to take a look at your habits and methodology and see if you can reduce your negative impact on the planet. Maybe take shorter showers to conserve water. Recently, I heard it suggested that you should never run a dishwasher when it was only partially full. I've always waited to run the dishwasher until it was full, and it never occurred to me that people would run the dishwasher when it wasn't full. But apparently there are people out there who do so. So take a look at how your home operates and see what you can do to reduce your carbon footprint. As usual, I want to remind you to pray and meditate daily, and maybe sometime this week, just take a moment to see what habits you've developed relative to your carbon footprint. If you're more wasteful than you'd like to be, maybe you do need to take drastic action. Take a look at your behavior and consider the karma you're creating for yourself. In our metaphysical lessons, we learn to realize health by building thought forms of radiant, vital, dynamic health. We know that this is a different process from overcoming illness. The same is true about realizing abundance. We don't work to overcome lack, but rather we work to realize our abundance. The key is to put God first and to keep yourself centered as best you can. Is your universe full of love, joy, peace, and harmony, or is it otherwise? No matter how difficult it may seem at the time to keep yourself centered, just remember, as we've heard so many times before, that with God all things are possible. And as we heard in this morning's scripture, it's up to you to regulate your behavior. As you sow, so shall you reap. It's your choice.